Hello, and welcome to the Borealis Experience. I'm your host, Aurora, and I'm very excited to be posting this interview today here for you. This time I was interviewed by two youngsters from the UK, Elliott and Jack White, with their podcast Chatterbox. They got curious about my stance on feminism and meditation. They wanted to know if meditation really helps with anxiety, and then we also chat about jealousy, social media, and how we can learn to be less jealous and more confident with ourselves. You will learn tons about me and I'm excited to sharing this episode with you. Those two guys did a wonderful job. They're great podcast hosts. Make sure to check them out. Chatterbox on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and wherever you can find podcasts.
Should we be blaming an entire gender for what this one man has done?
Of course not.
Some listeners may find the following podcast disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised. Today we are joined with Aurora, who is the host of the Borealis Experience.
Hello. And thank you so much for reaching out to me and for having me on your podcast. I feel very excited and honored to be here with you.
It's lovely to have you, Aurora. Really is. So do you mind telling us a little bit about yourself then? I mean, where did you start? What do you do? Who is Aurora?
So Aurora is a very diverse person, I would say. I was born and raised in Germany, and my family is French and German. That's why my accent is maybe not harsh German. I'm a physiotherapist who had to rethink her job now with COVID. So I came up with the idea of starting a podcast that is therapeutical. So I post meditations and I invite guys onto my show who open up about pain and disappointments.
Interesting.
Yeah, in doing so, the listener is benefiting, and the person who's on my podcast has kind of a cathartic experience where they can release stress and pain from the past and move on.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like some really good stuff there. So how did you actually start that journey then? Because it doesn't sound like something that everybody kind of does, you know? How did you get involved within that?
I would say, if we go a good decade back, I was raped. And after that horrible incident, my whole relationship with men and, dating changed. I have brothers, and my relationship with my brothers and with my dad also got worse and worse. And I think it was my fear, my anger for a man that I had after being raped that totally changed my character. Also, I grew up in a family where the guys were also very aggressive and dominant. So I also grew up with that mentality of, a man is never going to dominate me like this. And so all this to say, my relationship with men was always troublesome, and then being raped didn't help, of course.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, obviously your podcast is very male orientated as well, isn't it? You interview a lot of male guests. You give a lot of advice to male people and females, of course. So what sort of, obviously you had a hatred towards men. What sort of made you transition between having a hatred for men to now helping male-orientated people?
It all started because my relationship to my brother, my younger brother, got worse and worse, and I felt like he didn't want me to be in his life anymore, and that was very painful. And then the Me Too movement, 2018, made me realize that all those women rebel now and open up about what happened to them, but then we're stuck in pain and resentment. And is that helping society? Is that helping ourselves? I don't think so. So what can we do to heal our relationship with men, to trust again, And I think that's when I came up with the idea to start interviewing men, because I want to show to the world that there's so many like good men out there, and we just have to start and focus on them, and taking our focus away from those aggressive bullies, from people who are behaving wrong and dominating people, treating them badly at their workplace, and shift our attention to guys that are maybe a little shy, or to guys that feel like they're not good enough to start dating. And it's been very successful. Like, the guys who come to my show open up, and there's other guys listening and are like, oh, that's cool. That's the new masculinity, to open up and to be vulnerable. And women who are listening are like, oh shit, maybe I have to start healing. Maybe I have to start to forgive and give a man a chance. And
so sorry to hear that happened to you, Aurora. We're so grateful that you opened up about that absolutely horrific past event. And it's interesting how you turned that extremely tragic thing, and I know there's not even the words to describe its disgustingness, but how you turned that event around to change the perspective towards men, it's truly remarkable. So is that then how you kind of got into the meditation side of things?
Meditation is probably the last thing that I wanted to learn, because, I was always very anxious, very restless, and even like aggressive. A lot of women who go through trauma like this, like, shift into the masculinity and the aggressive way of living, approaching life. And we totally reject the soft and kind feminine energy. So meditation started out to be just 2 minutes a day, sit there with my thoughts, with my feelings, and then to go back to whatever I was doing. But meditation really confronts you with what you are trying to run away from, actually. It was uncomfortable, but then the more I did it, the more I was kind of being okay with that and allowing it more and more. And so it was a very baby steps that I had to use to start out meditating. And it's doing me well now. And I want to share this with people who still feel like they can't do it, they're too restless, because I was there and I know how hard it is. And I try to, relate to people who are at that stage.
For many of our listeners who might not meditate or never actually tried meditating themselves, what would you say to them? What are the benefits to meditation?
So I can just talk about my experience, and it is making you aware of what your monkey mind, your mind, your racing thoughts, is all about. That is always with you. You can distract yourself with Netflix or porn or with binge eating food, but it's always there in the background, sucking energy from you. So a lot of people feel drained right now, and they don't know why. They're sitting at home, but it is their brain sucking energy from their system, because it's in stimulating mode. It is costing you so much energy to think about all these things that we think about. And when you are on the internet, social media, or watch the news, you always have thoughts or opinions about something. Your monkey mind is always judging, opinionated, and wants to be there and have an opinion. And when you sit down in meditation, you can calm all this down. You can bring all your anxiety, your anger or depression down and look at it.
Yeah.
And from there, you can reach a mental space, so to say, that you can sort through stuff. Like, do I really want to have these thoughts? Because you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are just like something blabbering on the whole day, and you can direct these thoughts. You can think of a river. You can think of petting your cat or hugging your dad or something. You can use your mind as a tool instead of your mind using you. And this is what I learned with meditation, is to tame that monkey mind and turn the volume down and tell it what I want my brain to think about and not the other way around.
For sure. Meditation definitely sounds like one of those things where it's definitely the best thing in order to achieve peace within yourself. I mean, just kind of relaying it back to myself for a second here is that I use an app called Calm, and I do anywhere from a 10 to 40 minute meditation session before bed. Like, I can't really sleep unless I do meditation. So I've kind of seen the benefits to meditation, and it has got a lot of stigma where you think that, oh, you do one meditation session and then you're going to be like a guru, you're going to be completely calm. For me anyway, it's taken me nearly 4 to 5 months to finally fully understand it and then integrate it within my day-to-day life. So would you say then that, Aurora, that meditation is the ultimate way in order to achieve peace within ourselves?
I would say, like, besides exercising and eating well, that, reflecting and realizing what's going on in your head and clearing stuff out that doesn't serve you anymore is very, very beneficial. Because this life we're living in right now, this world is very fast-paced. We have distractions at every corner. And meditation kind of brings you back to yourself, and you can go back to your dreams, go back to how you feel. And from there, you can go out into the world and be way more confident and solid with who you are. And then you make better decisions for yourself too.
I don't know if you know much about what's happening in the UK. It happened in March, actually, this year. And it was a very devastating case about a lady called Sarah Everard, who was kidnapped and murdered by a police officer in the UK. I don't know if you know anything about that.
No, this is crazy.
No.
Yeah.
So it sparked a lot of controversy and protests in the UK surrounding women feeling safe in public places. And these protests are still going, rightfully so. And it sparked a lot of hatred towards men as well, because it was a male police officer that committed these horrendous acts. And everyone's now blaming all of men for what this one man has done. I mean, is this sort of the right way of going about things? Should we be blaming an entire gender because of something that a small statistic of men has done? Is this something we should be doing?
Of course not. Like, we're hurting ourselves in behaving that way, and we have to see that there is a couple foul apples, but we as women, this is what makes me so angry about modern feminism, we cannot think that we can address that problem by ourselves. We have to do it together as a team. We have to unite with guys out there who are there to protect us and who are there, as a team. I cannot say it in a different word, because those guys have to be called out. And I'm sure that, I know, like you guys, for instance, it must be terrifying and so, like, bad for your mental health to know that now every man is being, like, looked at differently. Like, it is totally scary. And no, this has to stop. It has to be seen as a rotten apple that did something horrible, but it has nothing to do with his gender.
Yeah, because politicians are actually bringing it up in the House of Commons now, which is the main place where laws are established in the UK, and they're actually on about curfewing men now, limiting them to a specific time where they can go out, socialize, go to work. I'm sure there'll be expectations if something like this was to come about. It was a lady, it was a baroness. I think her name was Jenny Jones. She brought it up in the House of Lords to say, here, let's make women safer by curfewing men. Do you think that something like this should be happening?
Yeah, it is very scary. Yeah. It's scary how politicians then think that they have a solution to everything, and it's harmful. It is so harmful to go about things that way, because we lose you guys as supporters then. You guys who could protect us and who could, help us to, like, being against that war of people who abuse their how do you say, their power, we'd lose you because you're being locked up in your house now and castrated, so to say.
It's quite worrying to think how things are going to pan out in the future because we just don't know. So steering away from that topic for a second to discuss the concept of failure, specifically where I'm not sure, they end up disappointing others or yourself. I'm quite curious to know, have you got any tools and tips on how to overcome failure and self-doubt through meditation?
So if it's just yourself and let's say you started a business, you did it because you believed in it and your family told you from the start, this is going to fail, you suck at this, blah, blah, blah. Then you have to know that you were brave enough to get out of your family and to start something new, to be a pioneer, and to know that when you're pursuing your dreams and success, it is like the progress is never linear. You will have to go through failure in order to know that you want that goal, that business 120%. So what I like to do then is to reframe the thought and the feeling around failure and see it as a test. My God, how often have I been tested for the 4 months now with my podcast? If I really wanted to do it, my technology failed, my self-doubt creeped up on me, and I just kept meditating and telling myself, this is just a test. And I have to continue being on that path if I have the intention to better myself or support other people and bring value to this world. Of course, if you are on a path of self-destruction or harming other people or stealing from other people, it is the universe telling you, okay, you should get the fuck out of that because this is not good. But if your intentions are right and you encounter failure, just see it as a test.
And would you say rejection is a type of failure?
Rejection, well, there's many types of rejection. When it comes to dating, it's of course very painful. Is it in dating you were referring to, or just?
Yeah, so I mean, being rejected, let's say you rejected a job, you rejected a partner, like you just said in dating. Would you say this is a failure, or is this something that we should be living up to, or what would you think?
I think it's something that we should sit on and reflect about, because sometimes we're being rejected by a potential partner because they can sense something inside of us that is not matching with them. So for instance, if you are a guy who wants to get married and have kids, and you start dating a girl who's super pretty, but her intentions are just having fun and sex and everything, she will sense pretty quickly that you want something else. And she might reject you, not because of your looks, but because she feels that vibe that is not matching hers. So again, just like with failure, I would start and reframe rejection and also see if you apply for a job, like, is it really the job that I want? Or is that rejection trying to tell me something about myself? Not that I'm a bad person or a failure, but maybe I'm digging at the wrong hole. Maybe I should look for something that is more in attunement with what I really want. Because sometimes rejections are just the little sting before you meet your dream partner, before you get to your dream job. And that rejection in the moment feels super shitty. But the next day or the week after, you realize, if I didn't have that rejection, I would have never met that person or have the opportunity for that new job.
Yeah, I know you've focused on rejection quite a lot in your podcast, haven't you? What's your experiences with rejection? Any good, any bad experiences in your life?
I always took rejection very, very personal because I was very insecure with who I was. I was bullied at school, so that doesn't help with self-esteem. So I always thought, it's because I'm not good enough. It's because, I'm reaching for too big of a dream. And it was not that. I was just reaching for a dream that was not in alignment with myself. I was trying to do something that was going to please my parents, that was going to please society, And obviously, I was not meant to do that. I was meant to do something else. So looking back now, I see rejection was there to kind of give me the right little slap to keep me going into the right direction, different direction. But back then, it was very hard to sit there and to feel like, oh, every door is being closed in front of my nose.
Yeah, I mean, like you said there, rejection is probably one of the most painful emotions us as humans can like kind of go through. I mean, I've been through it several times, Jack. I'm not sure if you have. But yeah, it certainly took its toll on me for sure. But, you know, rejection can happen at any age though, right?
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Does it affect people at different ages differently?
I would say if you learn with age to see it, like to reframe it and to see it as okay, well, it was not meant to be then, but it has nothing to do with my value, with my lovability. I think you can learn to be more resilient and to kind of smirk a little bit. In your 20s, in your teens, it's extremely tough because you still don't really know who you are and you don't know what the rejection is about. And we oftentimes just make it about our self-worth. And I would love to help out people and make them see that it's nothing to do with their self-worth.
And that's the thing. Oh, go on, Jack.
No, I was just going to say, being young is the best time to be rejected because, you know, you've got plenty of time to work at that and move on, you know. And I think, like Elliott was just saying then, you know, we've all been rejected, and I'm sure you have as well, Aurora. You were just mentioning that as well. And it's just something, it's part of life, and you've just got to learn to move on, and there'll always be something, you know, better that comes along the way anyway. So
yeah, and maybe one last little thing there, like sometimes just have the intention when you wake up in the morning and tell yourself, today I'm going to go for rejection. Today I'm going to do things where I know I might face a rejection, but I'm just not going to care. I'm just going to be confident. I'm going to be myself and ask, and let's see how that's going to get you.
As just mentioned there about teenagers, for some odd reason, it just makes me think about the whole comparison game. You know, don't get me wrong, it does happen with adults as well. But especially with an increase in social media now, I do feel that jealousy and comparison is just kind of on the increase. So the question I'm trying to get at here is effectively, how can people start to feel more at peace with who they are?
So jealousy is always a sign that you're insecure with yourself. So let's say that girl who has such pretty hair, who is so confident, and she has so many friends. I see her on social media and become jealous because I'm the opposite, I feel. Well, maybe I can start feeling inspired instead of being jealous. And inspired not in a way that I'm going to copy and paste now everything she does, but maybe see that she truly loves herself. She's truly confident with herself, and see what can I do to feel that way. So it has to look like initially like going back to who am I and what do I want in life, and then to know that as soon as you know what you want, you will also have that radiant and beautiful expression that is so attractive to people. You see, like oftentimes we feel like it is the physicality, like the physical appearance that is so attractive, but it's actually what people are radiating. They're radiating, I feel good, I know who I am, I know what I want, and you can get there too. And it has nothing to do, again, with putting makeup on and starting to paint your nails, or for guys starting excessively to work out. It has all to do with find what brings you joy. And as soon as you're doing that on a daily basis, you will have that attractiveness and attract people.
Wow, yeah. You know, I just need to start making notes because I mean, this is obviously really, really interesting. I was saying that the last guest we had as well, I need to bring a notepad to these podcasts.
You actually do, Jack.
Yeah, I know. But Aurora, obviously you're a yoga / meditation personal trainer. Is that the way to say it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you're dealing with plenty of people, plenty of clients. What's it like now during the pandemic? I'm guessing there's a lot less clients you've suddenly got, and it's a lot more difficult to get work. I mean, what's it like?
Oh, it was horrible because I had to shut everything down and sit with myself. And then everything crept up on me again, what I was successfully running away from. So now I can slowly have clients again, but not as before. And it's okay. We have to be grateful, for what we have in the moment. And
yeah, for sure. And you just mentioned there about how during the coronavirus pandemic you kind of used your job in a way to also distract you. Do you feel then that distracting yourself is a healthy thing to do, or do you think to avoid the problem, or do you think you should face the problem face on?
Yeah, I think there's a fine line between healthy distraction and self-destructive distraction. So when you're really actively trying to run away from something, I know myself and I know how I tend to run away from realities that have to be faced. So this is why when COVID came, I was like, okay, well, now I know what to do. I have to sit down and reflect and let go of stuff that is still weighing me down. So I think if you become self-aware, if you start to get to know yourself, you will know right away if you're distracting yourself from something or if you're just enjoying life and not trying to get like too hung up on something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. And as we were just talking about social media and the whole comparison game, do you believe in what it promotes then? Because, it's inevitable that people are going to get affected in different ways. I'm just curious to know, are you for or against social media?
I would say I'm totally for social media, but I feel that we should all, and that's not just for teenagers, we should all learn how to use it better in order to be aware how it affects our mental health. So what I started doing is that I start setting myself a time and then always have like an intention. Why am I going on social media? Oh, because I want to message my friend. Because then you don't get too lost. To give yourself a guidance and then to stick to those guides and then put your phone away and go on with your life and know that you have to have a hobby in the outside world, be it a sport, be it painting, be it music, whatever it is, where you want to put your main focus. And social media is just a little addition. It's just nice to keep connected with our friends. But to kind of boil the importance down, that's what I would suggest. I don't know if it's doable or if it makes sense, but this is how I go about it.
Right. Well, yeah, it definitely sounds like a way to maybe deal with social media addiction and stuff like that. It sounds like a really good idea.
And there are so many social medias out there as well now. Everyone's on everything. You've got LinkedIn, you've got Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. I can't go off to name all the others, but there's so many. And people are dedicating most of their lives to social media nowadays. And they are, it is their life for some people as well. And I guess that could be bad for your mental health.
Totally. And you know what helped me too is that you can see that there is consumers and creators. So the consumer is the person who always scrolls and becomes jealous. And the creator, of course, can do the same and be jealous and look at competition. But the creator can start and only focus on her or his content. Like you guys are maybe doing with the podcast now. When you go on, you post your content and you create content for others instead of being a consumer. Because I feel the creators out there might be addicts too, but they have a different kind of it has a different effect on their mental health because they are putting something out there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Shifting from being the passive consumer into I'm creating something, I'm putting something out there that is of value for people. And then you feel different about yourself too and more confident and know that, okay, I'm actually doing something positive. And if you don't want to be a creator, if you just want to be a consumer, then really check your time and check your intention and have a hobby outside of Facebook that gives you a sense of self and a good feeling.
You know what, Aurora, just before we end, I thought it might be a really good idea to see whether or not we could actually go through a meditation session with you as our host. Would it be something you'd be happy to do?
I would totally love to do that, especially if I know that you are like in a comfortable space and you can, actually enjoy it. I would love to guide you through a couple minutes there.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. I think me and Elliott at the moment, uni, life, mortgages, we're stressed, all right? And I think it's good that if we try something like this. And for someone like me as well, who doesn't meditate on a regular basis, I think it'd be really interesting. And I might even take up meditation after this. So, where do we start?
No pressure on me then. That's awesome. Okay, so you guys are seated. You are comfortable where you are?
Yes, let me adjust.
I'm currently driving. Is that okay? Or
Yeah, so go ahead, Aurora.
All right. What I usually tell my people is, so you feel your sit bones on the floor or on the chair you're sitting on, right? So now you can adjust your pelvis through your sit bones. You can kind of bring your pelvis forward so that your lower back arches a little bit. And then you can roll it backwards and then you kind of slouch. I want your pelvis, so you have your feet, if you're seated, grounded on the floor. And you adjust your pelvis, just like we said, so that you have a little bit of an arch in your lower back. And you will see or feel right away that your spine is straight. So now roll your shoulders up and back. Your shoulders up and back. You let your shoulders rest there, and your spine is now in a very straight position without any big effort, without any big muscle engagement. You can have your hands open up to the sky, resting on your thighs, or you can have your hands, for a more grounding sensation, facing down, like holding your knees or your thigh kind of thing. And then you close your eyes if that feels feel comfortable. If not, you keep them open. And you start noticing your breath. Usually when we're anxious, the breath is very shallow. When we're doing work like for university or social media, the breath gets really shallow. So just notice your breath. Don't try to change it, just focus in on your breath. And the breath is the number one tool that can help you regulate stress. So when we breathe shallow, our system, our body is kind of in a survival mode and doesn't know, okay, what kind of stress are we dealing with? As soon as your breathing goes deeper down into your belly, your body starts to relax and your mind starts to relax too in return. So now relax the muscles around your eyes, your jaw, and your neck. Have your chin slightly tucked so that your neck is nice and elongated. And then come back to your breath. And then, of course, your monkey mind is going to kick in and be like, oh my God, how long is that going to take? Why am I doing this? I want to do something else. And just know that this is perfectly normal. Every person who meditates has these thoughts. They just don't talk about it. And then maybe you're thinking about your to-do list or about a fight that you had. But come back to your breath. Know that all these things can wait. And usually when we're anxious, we're overwhelmed, we have too many thoughts. But know that taking those couple minutes can give you so much relaxation. And afterwards, you can be even more productive. And every time when I stop talking, notice your monkey mind kicking in again, wanting to do something else, and you just bring it back to your breath. And know that you're doing something good for yourself, for your mental health. Maybe you can feel already that your anxiety levels are going down. And if not, that's perfectly normal too. Focus back into your breath. Relax the muscles around your eyes. And what I like to do sometimes is to go into bird's perspective and to look down onto myself and to send myself some gratitude. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for allowing some time. Thank you for always trying, never giving up. Thank you for believing in myself. And when I say these things, see how your monkey mind reacts. Because your monkey mind might be saying, oh my God, like she doesn't even know me. What is this? I'm not worthy of this. And you just put it, like, turn the volume down of that little devil again. And if you're perfectly fine and at peace, then you're a badass meditator already. Now bring your hands to heart center in kind of a prayer position in front of your heart. Maybe even press your thumbs into your sternum, into your heart. Maybe you can feel your heartbeat. And then you bow down a little bit, just your head a little bit down towards your hands. And say thank you for making that time for myself. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking care of myself. Namaste.
Wow. I love that. Thank you so much, Aurora.
Wow, I actually am feeling really tired after that. I'm already feeling a lot more relaxed. And I don't know if that's because I do it during bedtime and my brain's thinking, oh, it's time to sleep now. But the bird's eye perspective thing, I've not heard about that before. That's something that's super interesting to me. I know I do given the positive thoughts to yourself, but never a bird eye perspective. That's a really interesting technique there that I'll definitely add into my little routine. Wow. And thanks for ever so much for joining us today, Aurora. The stuff you spoke about, I mean, you're such a powerful woman yourself, such a inspiration. All the stuff you've been through is truly magnificent to how it's shaped you to become who you are today. And I can't thank you enough for joining us today on this podcast.
Thank you so much for having me and for connecting. I'm very grateful to have that time with you, to connect with you, and I'm hoping that our content here is being received well.
Thank you so much, Aurora. Thank you. And stay tuned for the Chatterbox podcast, where we will be broadcasting every week on Monday. So please do get in touch, and please do follow us on Twitter @thechatterbox, where we'll keep you informed. Thank you all so much for listening. Take care and good night.
Yay. Thank you so much for listening to the Borealis Experience. And that was Elliott and Jake. I will have them on my show here, the Borealis Experience, very soon, to ask them, what are young people, young guys in the UK going through, and how can we support men better? Thank you so much for listening. Bye-bye.